Chapter 10 Lakshmi Panchali. We entered the MGM Grand Casino. There was loud noise all around, dazzling lights, and a huge movie screen spanning an entire wall. Standing amidst all this, I felt as if my senses had been kidnapped by something outside, that I had lost my identity, surrounded by this frantic human activity. A 30-foot wide and a 100-foot tall screen displayed images of a man playing the guitar. Like a tiled motif, the same image was being shown in 30 to 40 pieces simultaneously. We began to inch forward. There was a thick carpet underfoot, and both sides of the passageway were lined with slot machines. To play on the slot machines, you have to buy special coins and insert them in a slot in the quantity prescribed. Then you have to either pull a lever or press a button. A series of pictures or figures would start scrolling before stopping in a particular sequence. If it stopped at the highest possible sequence, a siren would start blaring and various lights would begin to blink and vibrate. Coins would rain down with a loud, jingling sound, and you would collect them in the metal tray underneath. This mixture of light and sound, combined with the joy of winning, something creates a limitless desire, what we can term as intoxication. A few get it sometimes, and the feeling that it may be in my destiny too, this hope raises the intoxication level. I'm thinking, what is intoxication? The sound of the coins, jingling probably, sends a message from the nucleus of the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland, which the sages of ancient India called the Agya Chakra, was called by the Western scientist the conductor of the endocrine orchestra. A good many things are happening in our body due to orders given from here. Even if we do not accept this, its working does not stop. The conductor may get some news by telegram, for example, become excited, and tell the serenal gland to mix adrenaline in the bloodstream. When the bloodstream reaches the head, such a feeling of joy is created, such intoxication that all other thoughts or considerations seem insignificant. This feeling of utter joy creates, with the help of synapses, a map in the neurons of the brain. This map somehow falls in love with the sound of the jingling of the coins. The results of love. Everybody knows that. The gold chain worn around the neck, the Rolex watch, all go into the slot machines. The desire to see the dazzling lights and to see the mountain of coins at least once more in the tray lights a fire in the blood. A king can forget the responsibilities of ruling his kingdom here. Take the example of Yudhishthira from the Mahabharata, who was the epitome of dharma, righteousness, and was wise in his karma, but whose knowledge simply did not work when it came to gambling. Man does not back down even from destroying the only wealth he really owns, his own body. We came and stood in front of the slot machines. The scene was quite amusing. A nearly 70-year-old gentleman wearing gold-framed glasses and smoking a long cigarette sat in a chair in front of the machine. In front of him was a big box of coins. I gestured to Yuji to look at the scene and asked him if he wanted to play around. He looked into my eyes and said, "In this life, you and I will not be able to gamble." Seeing me startled, he changed the topic towards himself. "Why should I gamble? Even if I don't want money, it comes to me. Maybe you don't believe me. Then see something quite amusing." Saying this, he stretched out his hands. The gesture looked as if he was telling God, "Give me money, or I will open my third eye." Suddenly, in order to save her master's self-respect, Julie put quite a few dollar bills in his hand. Yuji waved the money in front of my eyes and said, "See how easy it is to earn money?" He kept $500 notes in his hand and returned the rest to Julie. Mahesh always tries to make people understand the reason behind their actions. In this effort, he would sometimes involve Yuji too. As soon as this matter of money settled down, Mahesh whispered in Yuji's ears, but in a voice loud enough for us to hear, since that was his intention. "Why do these people give you so much money?" Yuji answered in a straightforward manner, "Why ask me? Ask those who give me the money." Then Mahesh asked Julie, "You're thinking that by giving money to Yuji, your wealth will increase in manifold ways, aren't you? Just like people give money at Tirupati, Vaishnadevi, or Kalighat temples. Even if you're not so business-minded, probably you're thinking that if you make Yuji happy, you will gain a lot in spiritual terms." By now, Julie was embarrassed. Mahesh then shouted, "You all are mistaken. This machine, called UG, is like a black hole. It will swallow everything but not give back anything in return." Yuji began to laugh and said, "Mahesh is telling the truth." Although she was close to him, Tanuja sprang like a tigress on Mahesh and said, "Why do you always keep a dollar note given to you by Yuji in your wallet? Answer me." Mahesh answered in a dramatic, serious tone, "I had stolen that money from Yuji's wallet. I had kept it as a souvenir of my tendency to steal. Besides, everybody wants to give money to Yuji, while I want to take it from him." Everyone was silent. Mahesh looked at Yuji and said, "Sir, all around us is the play of money." I remembered that in childhood I had heard a song, "Round and round this world is revolving due to money." Is there anything that money cannot buy? It is difficult to understand if those who tell us to sacrifice this are truthful or not. What a thing this money is. Even a person like Gadadhar Chatterjee, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, became scared after drowning all his possessions in the Ganges. If Lakshmi, goddess of wealth, stops her blessings, what will happen? The truth is, man has conquered and taken everything for himself. If a man is hungry, it is not possible to pluck a fruit from a tree and appease his hunger. A salaried guard earning a paltry sum will either beat him till the spine is broken or put him in jail. There also you cannot eat without working. I thought man did a terrible thing by starting farming. But does man need more money than what is needed for food, clothes, and shelter? If man understood that, what would happen to Las Vegas? It is no use thinking about all this. But what are we doing here? As soon as Julie took out her video camera, Franklin came running to stand before the camera. I don't know if I heard what Franklin was saying about Las Vegas, but something like this was going on in my head. I felt as if a news correspondent was giving live commentary. You can see this small group. There are the army of UG Krishnamurti. They have come on a pilgrimage to Las Vegas. They are a terrific group. Just like Vegas is standing on the chest of the desert, ignoring the rules and regulations of civilized society, creating a new way of life, just like that, this group is sowing the seeds of creating a new identity in the desert of society. This group is not interested in light human experiences, They have set their sights on sowing extraordinary seeds to create a new identity in their body. This awakening will change the programming of their heads. It will force them to live in harmony with nature. Just then I heard Franklin shout, "Beware, beware, beware!" Suddenly, looking at Franklin, I remembered my father's card-playing cronies. Before playing, each would boast as if he was an Olympic champion. Mahesh snatched the camera from Julie's hand and, focusing on Yuji's back, began to follow him around. Both of Yuji's hands were clasped behind his back. He was clasping his right hand with his left hand, and 3 fingers of his right hand were holding crisp 5 $100 notes, which were swaying in the air. After a few minutes, Yuji realized that he was being captured on camera. Immediately he turned back and said, "Why from the back? Come in front." We said we wanted to capture for posterity his efforts to earn money. When a man dies, everything is over. Whether there is anything called reincarnation, it is not possible to know. But through the medium of celluloid, it is possible to bring alive for the dear ones the people who are gone. Yuji now attacked head-on. "You people are laughing at my indifference to money. Do you people have your eyes and ears open to your deepest desires? If you truthfully dive down to your core and examine yourself, you will only find preoccupation with money, and that which is remaining can also be bought with money. Yet, the fun is, you will not be able to buy me with money. A famous astrologer once predicted that even if I give a kick to Lakshmi, she will not stop following me around." As soon as he finished saying this, we all surrounded him. I told him, "Teach me some mantra-tantra to come to such a state. All my troubles will be over. There will be no need to flatter anyone or to bow my head in front of anyone." We could not believe our ears what Yuji replied to this. "There is a way to do this." I looked at him with such concentration that all external sounds were blocked out. The whole universe did not exist for me. I only concentrated on the tremors of those lips from which issued these words. "Yuji, when you don't have any more money, when you have no means left of earning more money, when you have no idea what you will eat tomorrow, but still you have no trace of regret in you, then all things will appear in their place like magic. As long as this last sentence is in your head, nothing will happen." I understood these things cannot be learned. They cannot be done through effort. I suddenly thought that if one could become like Narain Babu, Swami Vivekananda, just by closing eyes and sitting, then there would be no lack of spine in the motherland of my dreams. I have no idea from where these weird examples come into my mind. We have no idea if we were going to stay here or go back to Palm Springs. After spending a couple of hours at MGM, we returned to the parking lot in front of our cars. We began to discuss whether we would stay or go back. The last word would, of course, belong to Yuji. He said, "When we have come so far, it would not be a good idea to go back without seeing Las Vegas at night." That was it. Immediately, Julie went to the reception counter to book a big room for us. We all began to walk towards our room on the 22nd floor. We reached there by the elevator. Getting out from the elevator, we found ourselves in a broad, carpeted passage. There were rooms on both sides. After every 3 or 4 rooms, there was some empty space where slot machines were installed. If a sudden desire to gamble arose in any guest, he wouldn't have to go far, because there was a chance he could change his mind if he had to walk any distance. We came and stood in front of our room. A plastic card with a lot of holes was our room key. In place of the lock, there was a square metal plate in which was a 3 centimeter by 3 millimeter narrow slot. Mario had the card in his hand. He inserted the card in the slot and tried to open the door. The door would not open. Yuji immediately remarked, "They know the Italian mafia very well here." Mario said in a tone begging for pity, "If you had such a thing 3 years ago, maybe it would have meant something. Now I'm not able to fill my stomach even after doing sheer manual labor. It has become difficult for me to live. Why are you saying this to me now?" Franklin came forward to take the key. His attitude was that he was about to perform a difficult task. He inserted the card in the metal plate and waited for a few moments. He then took out the card and turned the knob, and the door opened. We examined the room. Yuji would rest here for some time. We also would shower, eat, and rest at night before leaving the next morning. This was the general plan. Yuji sat on a chair in the drawing room. Franklin gave a $10 bill to Yuji to meet the expenses of eating and staying. Contributions were being taken. Yuji said that he had only $26 in change. Larry Morris immediately gave him some much-folded notes which were bundled up, just like truck drivers in India give money secretly to the traffic police as a bribe. That's how it looked to me. Yuji began to count the money given. 20, 30, 45, 50, 51. He laughed loudly and said, "This is called a calculative Jew." I pretended to be surprised and said, "Exactly double?" Larry was embarrassed and laid the entire wallet with his credit cards and debit cards at the feet of Yuji, who carefully returned the wallet to Larry. He looked at me and said, "This is called transformation." This Larry Morris, until 2 days ago, would put his hands in the pocket to give money, but then would change his mind. I thought that the tips of Larry Morris's fingers had a brain of their own. Even if the hand reached inside the pocket, the fingers disliked the money intensely. The brain would force the hand to come out of the pocket without any money. Now, Yuji threw down all the money and pushed it away with his feet. I immediately sat down on the ground in front of Yuji. "Since you dislike and ignore it so much, then okay. Mother Lakshmi, please come to me." I carefully smoothed out the notes and put them in my pocket. I remembered that back at home, Mother would read the Panchali in praise of Goddess Lakshmi every Thursday. That was for money. Yuji only said, "What comes easily goes away easily too." We were going to stay the night at Las Vegas. This was the only room available. Even if it was big, everybody could not stay in it. So we decided that we would stay elsewhere. While coming away from the hotel, I displayed the dexterity of my fingers, which were using to doing scientific work, and restored all the money that I had picked up into Yuji's pocket. Yuji had extraordinary awareness. His remark, "I cannot gamble in this life. I cannot touch any intoxicating substance, do not feel like spending the night with someone, what I would do with the money." Let the words of the astrologer come true. Maybe Goddess Lakshmi has no other option but to take shelter under your care. While walking down the passage, I saw Mahesh pick up something. This did not escape the eyes of Tanuja. She shouted, Yuji, Mahesh has again taken your money. While keeping the money in Yuji's pocket, $1 might have fallen out. Mahesh, like a falcon, swooped down on it and took it away. He was proud of this matter. He puffed out his chest and said, "Finders keepers, losers weepers." The saying seemed mysterious to me. I looked at him. There was a strange, victorious, and joyous smile on his face. Maybe the personality called Yuji. He is like this. He is roaming about among the people, pretending to be just like everybody else, and nobody knows that he is an incomparable great man. Maybe Mahesh has realized that this is Aladdin's lamp. Maybe it was my thoughts and my liking for Yuji that forced me to see this in Mahesh's words. Meanwhile, Yuji had moved on to other matters. Right now, the most important topic was where to put up and how many rooms were needed. We were standing in the parking lot surrounding Yuji. He asked who needed rooms. I replied that I would like to stay alone. Julie, Larry, and Mario all wanted a room to themselves. Franklin and Olivia would share a room, and Mahesh was agreeable to sharing a room with Tanuja for the night. Yuji suggested happily that if we take so many rooms, we might get one room for free. He pointed at himself and said that the free room was for this orphan. I crinkled my brow and said, "Orphan? Oh God, please make all my countrymen orphans like him." We booked many rooms in Holiday Inn. Everybody was scattered around. My room was just opposite to Yuji's. It was decided that we would meet in the balcony after half an hour. Everybody went to their own rooms. Except for a handkerchief and a wallet, I had nothing. Everything was available in the hotel. All I needed was a comb, toothpaste, and a toothbrush to be self-sufficient. I closed the room and came to the balcony. I was first. After that arrived Julie, Mario, Yuji, and Larry. There was no news of Mahesh and Tanuja. Knocking on their door had no effect. There was not a sound to be heard. Mario informed that they had told him that they were very hungry. Maybe they had gone somewhere nearby to eat. Yuji said, "Let's go out for some time. We will go out again together at night." We left for Caesar's palace. End of chapter 10.